in this world, in this frenetic pace of change, the reality is that learning can no longer be a one-time activity. Learning has to be a lifetime activity. And that's true no matter if you're an entry-level person or if you are absolutely at the top of your game. The pace of change has accelerated. And so every position, no matter what it is changing in ways that are very different than the past. It's why people are moving jobs so quickly, right? It's part of it. It's this idea that these jobs are evolving and changing and transforming, sometimes in ways people like, sometimes in ways people don't like. But in either case, the people need to keep developing. And this is true in many aspects of our lives now. I'm always fascinated by sports, by the way the bar keeps being raised in sports. Because it's easy to think about in the job, right? Technology is changing, it's impacting your job. But actually, technology, as we know, also impacts sports. The way people are training is very different than it used to be. People train now on simulation devices so they could train all year long, irrespective of what season the sport is normally done in. They have different fitness regimens. They have health and wellness programs that are making people more fit, more capable. But they're also continuing to learn. So let me give you an example from the Winter Olympics. I found this completely fascinating. Shaun White, one of the best Olympians we've ever had in the US. On the left, that's Shaun White in the 2006 Olympics. This is when he's doing his gold medal run. On the right is Shaun White in the 2018 Olympics doing his qualifying run. He won a gold medal doing 1 revolution. He qualified for the finals doing 4.5. And that was somebody who was already at the top of the game. It's continuous development, continuous training, getting better and better at what you do because the bar keeps being raised. We're just in a competitive environment now. We're in a globalized economy where people are trying all over the world to be the best. And companies all over the world are competing with your company. And so the bar has been raised. So we need to keep learning. We need to make sure our people are developing. And as part of that, there's more and more specialization, right? Jobs are becoming more specialized. Why? Because there's more to know in these jobs. And so there's a need, as the jobs become more technical, for the jobs to be more specific. It just takes longer to learn all that stuff. And what's driving this really is the next industrial revolution. What does that even mean? What is the next industrial revolution? It sounds good, but we're now moving into the 4th industrial revolution. The first one, with the invention of water power, steam power, had some mechanization to what we did. We moved out of just being an agrarian society. The second revolution is the one we think of as the Industrial Revolution, right? That was the advent of electricity, of factories, of mass production, assembly lines. The third Industrial Revolution happened with computational power, right? The ability to automate processes, the ability to use technology to do some of the work, some of the thinking. But the 4th Industrial Revolution is driven almost entirely by data, by using big data to provide artificial intelligence, leverage machine learning to make things better and better and better, to continuously improve. And so in this new era that we're living in, that's happening literally right now, new skills are an imperative to empower that revolution, right? I talked about some of the new jobs that exist. around things like data science. What this means is that in this new world, skills have become the new digital currency. It's about skills. And so we need companies and businesses and nonprofits and trade associations and governments and schools that are able to develop the skills of their people. It's a reality. Businesses that have strong learning cultures are simply more effective. They have higher productivity. They innovate faster. They are having better retention, and they're more effective. But it's not just the competitive drivers, right? It's not just the financials, the economics that encourage this. It's actually being demanded. And it's being demanded by the employees themselves. And what's particularly interesting is it's being demanded by the best employees, right? The ones you would think are already developed. They're the ones that say, no. I might be the best at this company at doing this, but I know I need to be better. So it's the high potential employees, the high performers that are insisting on more development. And when development is not happening, with now close to half the workforce as millennials, they're just leaving, right? If a millennial's at your company and they don't feel like they're learning enough, they'll just go to another company that is helping them develop. Because the employees need to stay relevant. They understand this. Younger employees definitely understand this. The need to keep learning. The need to leverage all the different modalities of training to be more effective at their jobs. Right? It's not just about classroom training anymore. It's about mobile learning, social learning, blended learning. It's about doing it on all different devices. It's about doing it in all different formats, everything from extensive month-long or year-long certification programs to the smallest micro-learning courses. Might be 90 seconds long. And to do this effectively for your people, you have to have a holistic solution. It's just the reality. It's gotten too difficult. It's too demanding. The needs for the employees are changing too quickly. Even the content itself is transforming, right? The content that was built 20 years ago doesn't work on mobile, but over half the consumption is done on mobile devices of training. I'm not just talking about movies and TV. Training done on mobile devices. And it needs the ability to deal with both sides of the equation, both the administration of training, right, the compliance training that's required for companies, the regulatory training, but also the training the employees are getting for themselves, right? The training that the employees are pulling themselves, and you need to deal with the content as well. So what we've been working on over the last few years that we now have today is enabling Cornerstone Learning to become that holistic solution for you, to deal with every aspect of training and development. So that includes very deep, highly configurable learning management, able to deal with the complexities of managing large learning programs around the globe. Most organizations today have become global. There are regional compliance requirements. There are different needs in different business units. There's complexity around what different positions or even levels within those positions need to learn, need to do, and having a simple, intuitive way to manage that, to enable that, is really important. But at the same time, you have to have a consumer-like interface for the employees. We have all gotten used to that Netflix metaphor for consuming video, for consuming media. We expect personalization. We expect the system to be smart enough to know what training I need next. We expect it to be really simple to search. We expect the interface to be elegant, but in the case of training, unlike entertainment, you also want to be reminded of the things that you actually have to do, right? Not just the things you want to do, but what do I have to do? We've put that all in a single interface with our learning experience platform that's part of Cornerstone Learning. But that's not enough. You also need the content. And the content needs to be continuously curated because the needs vary by industry, but they also vary by department. They vary by role. And how do you keep that content curated? How do you deal with all of the changing needs and skills required, competencies required in these different groups? So as Chris mentioned, we did a survey before the conference. We understand the challenges that people are having with content. We understand the needs that people have with content and how this complexity is affecting your jobs when you're the ones responsible for delivering the training and development programs. We understand how challenging this can be. But at the same time, we understand that you can't do it all yourself. We understand that you need to have modern content, right? Not outdated content. That it needs to be cost effective because you're no longer only training the executives. You have to train everybody. Everybody expects to be developed. You understand that you can't really rely on just one vendor for the training because there's too many different requirements. The skills have gotten too refined. Things are too specialized now. You need experts in the different subject matter. You also realize that you have to do it both top-down and bottom-up. You have to do it both ways, meaning the company is requiring some training, but at the same time, the employees are asking for certain training. And it needs to be curated, right? We've gotten used to things like Spotify that just tell us what to listen to. We don't need to think about it. We tell them some song we like, and it's going to tell us the music we could listen to for the next 5 hours. People have become used to that kind of opportunity. And so we have rolled out the Cornerstone Content Anytime subscription service offering, right? The idea of giving you content whenever you need it, all you can eat, completely modern, mobile enabled, that allows you to have highly curated content across multiple providers when you need it, available for everybody. And we understand that it's very difficult to get this kind of content yourself. So we now have a team of content experts that is curating these subscriptions. We've hand-selected not only the providers, but the titles from those providers for the subscription. And we understand the benefits of the scale we have. So last year, we had about 400 million course registrations, online class registrations, flow through Cornerstone. We have a massive amount of data about training and development. And that data is about both third-party training that your organizations have consumed, but also the proprietary training you consume. We understand what subjects people need. We understand what's needed by different industries. And so we're leveraging that data. We are leveraging that data by doubling down on our Content Anytime subscription service. So we are about to roll out multiple types of subscriptions in addition to the Content Anytime Essentials subscription that we've talked about in the past. What do I mean by that? I mean subscriptions that are specific to industries, like healthcare content anytime, or manufacturing content anytime. Subscriptions that are relevant for certain functions in your organization, sales content anytime. So very deep content about how to be an effective salesperson. Customer support content anytime. Regional subscriptions. things that are applicable to certain parts of the world by language. German content anytime, French content anytime, Spanish content anytime. Because we understand the need for localization in certain markets. But we're also working on thematic subscriptions, executive development content anytime, digital transformation content anytime, helping you get your employees trained for the future. And speaking of the future, we've partnered up with the Institute for the Future. Now, the Institute for the Future does something really cool. You want to talk about a cool job? You'll hear from Bob later. This is a cool job. They sit around and think about the future all day long, and they get to talk to the people that are driving the future. They come into their offices, they are talking to tech luminaries and business champions who are really driving the future. And they try to understand, what does that vision of the future look like? And how do we navigate that future? So we've partnered up with them to create in our Cornerstone Content Anytime Essentials subscription playlists that are specific to the 5 skills for the future that the Institute for the Future has developed. So these are the skills that they believe people will need to be effective in the future. Now, if I were to sum it all up, I would define it with one word: adaptability. Right? People today started talking not about IQ or EQ, but AQ. How adaptable is the person? What's our adaptability quotient? Why? Because things are changing so fast that the only thing you know for certain is that things are going to change. So you need people that can adapt to changes. These are more refined competencies within that. This is how to be effective over the next 5 or 10 years. So what we've done is, in partnership with them, created playlists, leveraging our new playlist technology, leveraging our Cornerstone Content Anytime subscription to build playlists around all 5 of those competencies. And just so you guys could check it out, it's going to be available in the Client Success Center for the next month for free. So you go into the Client Success Center, and at least you guys, if you don't buy it for the whole company, at least you will be equipped for the future. So your job will be safe.